bio and British literature.
Hello, my name is Michelle Haken, and I'm a middle school English teacher in Rye, New York, and an adjunct professor at Manhattanville College. Thank you for joining me and for being part of the K12 Online Conference in 2014. This video will address how teachers can incorporate inquisitive learning with Genius Hour and passion projects in their own classroom. During this presentation, I will address how teachers can inspire and ignite learning in their content area among the demands of the Common Core and 21st century literacy. What is passion-driven learning and what does it look like in my own middle school classroom? Lastly, I will address how I've implemented and facilitated Genius Hour into my classroom on a weekly basis. For teachers new to Genius Hour, I will share ideas how I introduced Genius Hour and supported my students throughout the school year. For veteran teachers of Genius Hour, I will address sticky questions like moving beyond making cupcakes, classroom behavior, and technology challenges. Passion-driven learning is essential today, and it cannot just be the teacher's passion. Students are at the heart of the classroom, and in building a community in your classroom, all members' voices and interests must be taken into consideration. Passion-driven learning includes students' passions and interests. Genius Hour and passion projects are one introductory step in helping to cultivate a classroom where passion, curiosity, and creativity are at the front and center. My own interest in Genius Hour stemmed from Twitter chats and the buzz that other teachers shared on social media. After doing Genius Hour with my students for an entire year, lots of reading and research and participating in online Twitter chats regarding Genius Hour, the Genius Hour that my students will complete this year must meet the following requirements. First, the project must be something that is researchable, and second, it must positively impact the community. Tom Driscoll, the author of the blog Flipped History, requires his high school students complete a Genius Hour project that will have a positive impact on the community. I was really interested in the idea of the Genius Hour project helping others because it supports my school and the personal goal to create a culture of caring and teach empathy, social responsibility, and caring. Many times, students study about historical and current events and ask, why does it matter, or why should I care what is happening around the world? It is essential to learn about others and to learn about different cultures. Also, we want to teach our students that they have the power to make a difference and their actions count. As author of Classroom Habitudes, Angela Mayer states, you matter, you have influence, and you are a genius. You have a contribution to make. At the beginning of the school year, it's all about introducing the idea of Genius Hour to my students and building community and cultivating creativity. For the month of September, I began Genius Hour with different activities like a spaghetti tower challenge. Students worked in small groups to construct a freestanding tower out of 20 pieces of spaghetti, 1 yard of tape, a yard of string, and the tower had to hold a marshmallow at the top. For the first 2 weeks, we did small challenges like this to build community and inspire students' thinking and building skills. I asked students to describe words that were synonymous with genius and passion and input their responses on a Google form using their mobile devices. Oftentimes, I asked students to complete Google Forms on their devices to catalog their responses. Then, I took their responses and created a taggle or word cloud of their ideas. I share videos with my students on a weekly basis. I've created a YouTube playlist of Genius Hour videos to encourage my students to think outside of the box and spark creativity and get them thinking about possible ideas for their own projects. Some of their popular videos include Kane's Arcade and Kid President. I curate these videos on my Genius Hour playlist, which I've given you the tiny URL, facebook.com/ignitinginnovation14, so you can share some of the online videos that you are looking for or you use in your classroom. Most of these videos have been shared by other teachers for Genius Hours and passion projects, similar to the video here, Life Equals Risk.
Dismissed from drama school with a note that read, "Wasting her time. She's too shy to put her best foot forward." Turned down by the Decca recording company who said, "We don't like their sound and guitar music is on the way out." A failed soldier, farmer, and real estate agent. At 38 years old, he went to work for his father as a handyman. Cut from the high school basketball team, he went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. A teacher told him he was too stupid to learn anything, and he should go into a field where he might succeed by virtue of his pleasant personality. Fired from a newspaper because he lacked imagination and had no original ideas. His fiancée died. He failed in business twice. He had a nervous breakdown, and he was defeated in 8 elections. If you've never failed, you've never lived.
I might start off class reading aloud a picture book. My 2 favorites so far this year are The Most Magnificent Thing by Ashley Spires and What Do You Do With an Idea by Kobe Yamada. Both these books have great illustrations and promote the concept of cultivating an idea, trying it out, and not giving up if the idea fails at first. And if you have any concerns about middle schoolers and read alouds, they love a good picture book. It's also important to share with students inspiring teens and young people who are doing amazing things, like Jake Andraka, the 17-year-old inventor and cancer researcher. When he was 15, he developed a new, rapid, and inexpensive method to detect pancreatic cancer, ovarian, and lung cancer during the early stages. Mr. Corey is a 9-year-old boy from New Jersey who started his own cookie company with his mom. He spent his weekends baking cookies and selling them to local businesses. Shelter Pups began with an idea from a young girl who loved dogs, and her family had many dogs that came from local shelters, but she was always upset that the stuffed dogs in the toy store never looked like the mixed breed dogs she saw at the shelter and had at home. The idea for Shelter Pups was born. Theodora and her family created a company that made stuffed dogs that reflected real dogs living and being adopted in shelters. When you purchase a one-of-a-kind shelter pup that is made in America, a portion of the proceeds go to local animal shelters. What I want to share with my students is that it doesn't matter your age. If you have an idea, research it, pursue it, turn your idea into a product, a business, a cure, information to share, inspire, and help others. Students spend a few weeks research and exploring possible topics and ideas before they write a proposal of their Genius Hour project commitment. I have laptops in my classroom for students to access. Students are also encouraged to bring their own devices. All of students' research is compiled in our Google Classroom, and every other week students are required to complete a self-reflection the last 10 minutes of class on the research they have compiled and completed and the status of their projects. These reflections can be completed on paper or online depending on your technology access. While students are working on their projects, I'm checking in and monitoring their projects. I expect that students will use class time efficiently and effectively. In reality, I know that doesn't always happen. I have to conference with students about their use of class time, and for those who struggle, we make a checklist of what they need to do each Genius Hour to follow. Whereas last year I had a handful of students who made cakes and cupcakes, I really wanted to get away from the idea that Genius Hour was a baking project. With the requirements of the project this year, having the component that it has to benefit the community in some way, students cannot just research the best recipe for brownies and bring them in to share it with the class. I currently have a student whose sister and father have celiac disease, and he's going to research about the disease to raise awareness and also compile a kid's cookbook with recipes for family with celiac disease. So he's interested in food, and through our discussion, he has found a way to incorporate his love of food with educating and helping others. When I asked my students from last year to stop by and share their thoughts and reflections about Genius Hour, this is what they had to say.
Last year's Genius Hour taught me how to be creative and follow what I wanted to do. Yep. That's basically it.
What do you want to do?
Like, if I wanted to have a passion for something, then I was able to pursue it.
What was your project about?
My project was about photography, and I did a presentation on the pictures I took.
Okay, that's it.
Genius Hour, I pursued my dream of directing and did a project about how to direct, and it really helped me because I would feel able to be creative and pursue my passion of being a director.
Hour was really fun because you got to learn about something that you really were interested in, and you were able to focus on it more than you usually would get to during the school year.
When the teacher didn't tell you what to do, you got to pick whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah. You got to learn about stuff that you really wanted to, and it wasn't other things. You really got to dig deep into a topic that you really wanted to.
What did you do your project on?
Photography,
And why did you choose photography?
because I like taking pictures.
And have you, now that you've left the classroom and Genius Hour, are you still taking pictures?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I liked learning about something that I wanted to know about rather than something else. I like the creative process of going through it and doing all the research and being able to take your time and choose what you want to do.
Hour is important because it's very educational and it teaches kids to be independent about their work.
Genius Hour and Passion Projects are all about igniting innovation in the classroom. Genius Hour allows students to take the reins of their own learning and explore the topics and subjects that are of interest to them. Teachers need to go beyond teaching a subject that they only know because of a test or just to pass the class. Schools shouldn't only be about passing a test, but rather creating a culture of learning where students are engaged, making connections, and helping to solve problems that will make the world a better place. Feel free to contact me to find out more about my Genius Hour updates and status of my students' projects. You can follow me on Twitter at Teaching Factor or follow my blog, theteachingfactor.com, for more information. Thanks so much for watching and happy learning.